More than 10,000 women have cases sitting in one federal court file right now, and the whole file is about chemical hair relaxers. I read the filings, and every brand name in there I knew from growing up. And one of them is a relaxer made for children. I'm Mama Health, and this one's heavy. But by the end, you'll know what the study found, which 8 relaxer brands keep showing up in the lawsuits, and why the honest, safest move is not the answer you're expecting. But first, because this video touches your health and the law at once. This is public research and my honest opinion. It is not medical advice, and it is not legal advice. I'm your friend on the internet, not your doctor and not your lawyer. If something's going on with your body, see a real doctor. If you think you have a legal claim, that's a lawyer, not a YouTube video. Use this to ask them better questions. And the biggest question, I used it for years and I'm fine. I ran those numbers myself and they cut both ways. I'll show you exactly how in a few minutes. First, the study that started all of this. In 2022, the National Institutes of Health published something called the Sister Study. Nearly 50,000 women tracked for more than a decade. What it found: women who use chemical relaxers often, more than 4 times a year, had about 2.5 times the risk of uterine cancer compared to women who never used them. And it found something else. Black women use these products at far higher rates and start far younger, often as children. The products found us early. The studies showed up late. One study doesn't prove a product causes cancer. Correlation is not causation, and hold on to that because it decides how this whole story reads. But the pattern was strong enough that lawyers started filing within months. By early 2023, those cases had grown into a federal MDL, short for multi-district litigation. It now holds more than 10,000 cases. That's not a class action where everyone shares one outcome. It's thousands of women's separate cases, organized under one judge, each alleging her relaxer use was linked to uterine or ovarian cancer. And the first name on those filings, over and over, is a box a lot of us grew up watching our mothers use at the kitchen table on a Saturday, dark and lovely. One thing to be precise about: everything here is filed and alleged. Nothing is decided, no verdict exists, and that holds for every brand name coming up next. Dark and Lovely is made under the Soft Sheen Carson name, owned by L'Oreal. Then there's Just For Me, and this is the one that stopped me cold. Just For Me is a children's relaxer. The box has a smiling little girl on it, labeled for ages 5 and up. It's owned by Strength of Nature, the same company behind African Pride and TCB, and it sits in filings alleging relaxer use that started in childhood. Sit with that for a second. A study built to track cancer risk in grown women ended up raising a question about a product marketed straight at little girls. That's just where the receipts led. African Pride and TCB sit in the same filings under that same parent company. ORS, Organic Root Stimulator, shows up too. That's Namaste Laboratories under Dabur India. So does Motions, another relaxer line with decades of shelf presence. 6 boxes on the board. The parent companies behind them fit on one hand. The title says 8, and I'm not going to pad the list just to hit a number, so here's the honest version. The filings name a whole cluster of manufacturers, and the exact brand level list shifts as more women join. But one thing holds across every version of the list. They're all chemical relaxers, lie or no lie, sold for decades and marketed overwhelmingly to Black women and girls. And behind them is a small handful of parent companies named in these filings but not found liable for anything. Not yet. That word "yet" is doing a lot of work. The full brand level table with sources is pinned in the comments, and I update it as the filings move, so subscribe if you want to catch that. Now, the question I promised you. I used it for years and I'm fine. This story has the same two camps every time. 1. I used Dark and Lovely for over 20 years and I'm completely healthy. The other, better safe than sorry, protect the next generation. Both are real things real women believe, and I'm not going to call either one stupid. Here's what the numbers actually say about both. Start with the good news, and it is good news. Out of 1,000 women who never use relaxers, about 17 develop uterine cancer. For frequent users, it moves to about 42 out of 1,000. That's the 2.5 times. But look at the other side of it. In both groups, more than 950 women out of 1,000 never get it at all. So no, I used it for years and I'm fine is not a myth. Even in the higher risk group, being fine is still the likeliest outcome for any one person. I'm saying that slowly on purpose, because a channel that only feeds you the scary half is only giving you half. Here's the half that half misses. Take that same 2.5 times and spread it across millions of frequent users, and it stops being about you. It becomes a real count of extra women, a meaningfully higher number, who got a cancer they might not have gotten otherwise. So you are probably fine, and the population level risk is still real. Both at once. That's not a contradiction. That's just how risk works. Your odds and everyone's odds are two different questions. So when someone says, better safe than sorry, protect the next generation, she's not being dramatic. She's answering the everyone's odds question instead of the your odds one. For a mother choosing for her daughter, that's reasonable math. So here's the honest version of my own title. The two safe options aren't two brands, they're two paths. And I'll tell you exactly why it can't be brands. The study never tested one box against another. It only tested how often women relaxed, period. So no chemical relaxer, lie or no lie, ever got cleared as the safe one, because nobody measured them that way. Any video handing you two boxes and calling them the safe chemicals is inventing a result that isn't in the data. What the data does point to is two lowest risk paths. Path 1, go natural, no chemical relaxer at all. Path 2, if you're going to relax anyway, pick formulas labeled low formaldehyde and no lie and space them out under 4 times a year, because that 4 times line is the exact frequency the study flagged. That's the real, only 2 are safe. Less chemical, less often, or none at all. So where are the regulators in all this? The FDA has a proposed rule to ban formaldehyde and the chemicals that release it in hair straightening and smoothing products. It still hasn't been finalized, it hasn't even been formally proposed, and the deadlines keep sliding. While the FDA kept sliding, the women lived on ahead of it. A lot of them didn't wait for a courtroom or a rule. They read the study and within days they cut it off. The community has a name for it, the big chop. Transition videos, daughter's first wash and go. Captions like the study said 2.5 times if you use it 4 or more times a year. So I had my big chop right after I read that. Nobody ran a campaign. It was women making their own call with the actual numbers in front of them, faster than any regulator has moved. 3 years and counting, if anyone's keeping score. So what do you actually do this week? Whichever side of I'm fine versus better safe than sorry you're on. 3 moves. 1. Read the label over the brand name. Pull up the ingredient list on whatever's in your bathroom right now and check for formaldehyde or the ingredients that quietly release it, usually listed as DMDM hydantoin or methylene glycol. Those 2 names on a relaxer box mean formaldehyde without the word formaldehyde on there. 30 seconds and now you're choosing on information instead of habit. 2. If you're not ready to stop relaxing, cut the frequency. That's the single biggest lever the study measured, bigger than switching brands. Ask your stylist directly whether they'll space out your touch-ups. They've been having this exact conversation since 2022, and plenty of them have options they don't offer unless you ask. 3. If you're already in the MDL or think you might qualify, that's a conversation with a lawyer, and I won't pretend I can advise you on it. What I can do is put a link in the description to how the filing process works from a real legal source, not from me. And if you're thinking about going natural, you don't have to big chop in one appointment. You can grow it out slowly, trimming the relaxed ends over months. The natural hair community has been running that path for over a decade, with the tutorials and specialist stylists already there. If the person you're deciding for is your daughter, hold on to that just for me detail before her next appointment. Not to scare you tonight, just to make it an informed call. Comment your thoughts down below. If this helped, hit like and subscribe. And check out this video Mama Health made for you.